And welcome back to another GACC podcast where we're going to be discussing games, anime, computers, and collectibles, but not necessarily all those in a week. I am your host, Harrison, and to my left...
Hi, I'm Faust.
And to my right...
I'm James.
And we're going to see what has been going on. I think one of the ones I actually want to hit is Facebook, partially because we've been a little bit neglecting of that. The... Facebook.
Oh, no. I was doing it on purpose.
Oh, you were doing it on purpose? Well,
the only thing relevant to me in Facebook is that they bought Oculus, and now they're getting ready to roll that out. I've actually seen displays going up for the holiday season.
Cool.
But apparently they've been getting into trouble.
Well, first off, let's talk about locally.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been a couple weeks, but they've actually finally broke ground. So the Facebook data center has started construction in
Los Lunas?
Los Lunas.
Outside of Los Lunas, not actually in it, right?
Yeah. So basically,
no room in Los Lunas.
I actually had a job offer for a management position out there.
Are you serious?
Not an offer, but like where they send you the post, like this job's available.
Oh,
okay. They sent me a posting, not offer, posting.
Posting?
Posting.
Like, here, you might be interested in
right?
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in working for Facebook. Like, I'm interested in using Microsoft Edge. If you guys don't shut up and get rid of that advertising.
Right.
Wow.
Well, this one leases for a job. It's like, hey, you've done this kind of work before. Mm-hmm. Here, apply for a manager position out here. And I was like, no thanks. I like my job.
But it's Facebook. Don't you want to go get in their happy little hemisphere?
If I didn't have my job, honestly, I would apply.
Okay. I mean, the thing is the even though that job listing is going out now, it's going to probably be at least a year before any hiring happens with it. Because even though they've just broke ground, I don't think the first phase of it's really going to be up until about 2018.
And I doubt I'm going to get the pay I'm asking for. So that's why I was like, no.
Well, they're reporting record profits in 1.8. They just broke 1.8 billion users.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Facebook's not going anywhere. They're doing really well for themselves.
Yeah, and it is a management position. So industry average for something like that is worth looking into.
Guess you'll remember they're going to garnish about 1/8 of your paycheck to pay for the lobotomy.
Yeah. But that's
it'll come with complimentary 6-pack of beer, so I can drink every morning.
Yeah,
and cry in my car.
Yeah, on your way down there.
No, I'm already parked there. I can't drink and drive.
Well, some companies like Microsoft allow you to have up to 3 beers during a work shift.
Yeah, my old job out in Rio Rancho allowed 2 beers during lunch.
See?
Yeah, except there was like nothing nearby.
It's
what kind of boring job rates things with the amount of beers you can have? Why don't you just say? I mean, we're in New Mexico here. They should rate it in margaritas.
That's true. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Unfortunately, no.
I've only done the work time margarita.
No one only has 2.
Like once.
I'm sorry. No one has 2.
No
it's
one.
Like,
yeah.
I'll have
margaritas are like Pringles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have 1 or 2. You have like 6.
I had like 2 pitchers.
2 pitchers,
right?
Yeah.
Or it comes out like those memes where they have like the giant cup, and it's like, he said I can only have 1.
Yeah.
That would be actually the one job where you probably would not get in trouble for posting yourself drinking on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
Well, there goes. I mean, I'm completely exempt because they'd probably look and be like, he has no Facebook profile. Why would we hire him?
Well,
yeah.
Who knows? But the other nice thing is, let's say you do go get the job out there at Facebook, you could always go on there and be part of the management team, or say you're testing, when you're playing games on the clock, because Facebook has officially announced their game room. So the Facebook game room is now been officially announced as a Steam competitor. So, you're not liking this, are you?
It's not a question of liking. I actually find it kind of laughable. It's entertaining.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you that much.
So you're saying I should go down there and apply for this, get this job, so I can post it up here and show everyone, hey, we're awesome.
Yeah.
We have a guy that works out there and plays games all day. I mean, what's the difference between that and what I do normally?
I don't know.
I get paid for it?
We didn't make you sign the non-compete, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah. We should have.
Well,
Sitting at work, just like,
who knows? I mean,
That's cool, man.
yeah. But so we're going to end up having a competitor now, another competitor, just like Games for Windows on Windows 10, trying to get a hold of 125 million Steam subscribers. And that's just going to be hilarious.
Okay, so admittedly, Steam isn't the only game in play right now. The big ones that have been going on usually occupy niches that are difficult for Steam to fit into. Like Steam really keeps up with the modern games and the indie games. More modern than indie, except because they do the whole green light thing and everything like that.
Yeah.
Nobody really likes going to Steam for that kind of stuff because it's just kind of flooded. But you do have Humble Bundle because they have a store of their own and a monthly service. And you have good old games.
EA games.
Uplay and Origin and that kind of thing.
Yeah. But even like, what is it? Uplay, which is the one that does all the Assassin's Creed stuff. So what is that? Ubisoft?
Yeah.
They still interact with Steam somewhat. You know, you can either go directly to Uplay and buy, or if you buy on Steam, then it loads up through Uplay.
Yep.
So even there, they're working at least with each other somewhat. So
Well, because I mean, Uplay and Origin, they both work for separate video game developer publishers, distributors. So it's EA and Ubisoft, and these people have already had an agreement with Steam. Like their games are still distributed on Steam.
yeah, but
And any games that go up on the Microsoft Marketplace or on the Facebook Marketplace, I guarantee you, are already going to have a deal with Steam. So this is just a competitor. This is a competitor. I'm not saying that they can't compete. I'm just saying they're a little bit late to the party, and they're going to have to come up with something extremely original or extremely niche in order to remain relevant. Otherwise, they're just going to become that place you go to when you don't have any money in your Steam wallet.
But don't you want to play don't you want to play Township on your desktop without ads?
No.
Oh.
I play Township without ads on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they would try to nag you and say, "Hey, you really should sign into your Facebook."
They don't nag you. It's just one of the opportunities that they give you. Like the only way that they nag you is they keep on telling you to like other people's towns. And that's you need when you go, okay, I'll like somebody's town for some in-game money, and they goes, well, then connect to your Facebook, because that's the only place you can like something. Apparently.
Oh boy.
So yes, I do. I play Township relatively ad-free and relatively nag-free. Actually, I've learned how to play it.
Well, let's see how this Facebook game room comes out. You know, a lot of it's supposed to be on the Unity engine and all, but
so they're just doing their own games.
yeah, I think they're going to try to do some others too. Because remember, they have like they have the deal with Blizzard right now where you can stream Blizzard's games straight to Facebook.
You think the Blizzard games are going to be distributed through Facebook?
Or at least there's going to be some linking.
It's like we're going to come out with our own service to compete with Steam, strike one. And we're only going to put our games on it with the Unity engine, strike two. Like you're not even offering games that people know about. And the only thing that you've really got going for you at this point, Facebook, is 1.8 billion users, which means that if you get really aggressive like Microsoft has been with your advertising, then of course people are going to know about the games. But that's going to personally, that would turn me off. If every time I go to Facebook, they're like, here's 10 more games that you should be playing, pay us for them. No.
Well,
yeah.
It's supposed to be a separate app, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. But
Yeah.
I've already kind of communicated my stance on the situation.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And then Facebook also, has other issues, which is really funny because, it's so if you look at things, there's the global aspect for Facebook, and then there's like our US aspect for Facebook. And they've been getting in so much trouble in the US for censorship, manipulating news stories and their news feed and everything else like that. And if you look at it at a global scale, in Germany right now, they're actually being taken to court. Specifically, Mark Zuckerberg himself has been linked to this lawsuit for inciting hatred. So because they're not censoring fast enough in Germany, underneath Germany's laws, they are getting sued for inciting hatred.
Is this the law that Germany has where if you like even mention Nazis or like Heil Hitler or anything like that, they give you fucking citation.
Yeah. So
Or
basically,
you could get arrested for that.
yeah.
And
so
now Facebook's not blocking that stuff fast enough.
yeah.
That's what they're getting caught for.
Yeah, so basically, the suit accuses Facebook of tolerating appeals for murder, threats of violence, and Holocaust denial, among other things. Laws regulating speech in Germany are extremely tight, with most Nazi symbolism and racist propaganda strictly forbidden, a legacy of Germany's role in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the big thing. This is why Wolfenstein 3D was banned in Germany. I believe is still on the banned list because of Nazi symbolism. And I know they've gone back and they've scrubbed certain games to remove the actual Nazi symbolism so that they could be released in Germany. But it's an interesting thing when you look at everything on a global scale, that here's a company that gets in trouble for censorship in America, but in Germany, they're getting in trouble for not censoring enough or fast enough, even though they say that they are working at censoring and removing this illegal content underneath German laws. The lawsuit says that they're taking too much time to do it.
Well, that's on Germany.
Is that on Germany?
That's
or is
on
that,
Germany.
Or is that on Facebook? Because
That's on Facebook.
Because Facebook is
1.8 billion users. That is 2/8 of the world population.
yeah.
That means that the rest of the world can't follow your rules, Germany. Now, I don't understand that most of the German public would rather deny or not admit to what actually goes on there. They admit that it existed, but they're not going to sit there and let it affect them. I don't know exactly why they don't allow this kind of thing.
Well,
Like they need to communicate that this was a bad idea.
yeah.
And absolutely outlawing it and making it impossible for people to talk about denies the conversation.
Well, you have
So-
to remember that German humor is no laughing matter.
Yeah.
Oh,
See what you did there?
yeah.
It's no laughing matter.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the thing about it is Facebook is not a German company. They're not a German website. They are a worldwide company and a world website.
Correct.
I mean, they may be American based, but once you go global, it never really matters where you're based in. Really, especially
Right.
because once you go global, the first thing you do is move all your money into a company that has looser tax laws. So, come on, Germany. What I think they're trying to do is actually take a little bit out of the pie on that one. I don't think they're really truly have their feelings hurt because of it.
No, this
Yeah.
this looks like pretty much a semi-frivolous lawsuit because you're going after a big fish.
Yeah, you can't expect the rest of the world and all the global companies coming into your country to follow the rules that are arbitrary in the first place, because everybody knows. Everybody growing up here's a story. This is the single most well-told historical story ever.
Yeah.
World War II. People don't even know what happened with World War I because they hear so much about World War II in schools.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows. And I don't know why outlawing that kind of stuff. That's just an excuse to pull in money from citations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
At this point, it's like a legacy law.
Yeah, that's
but,
on Germany.
But at the same thing, it's also like China. There's very strict laws in China, and it's like why Google, while they try to make a presence there in China, they have eventually pulled out of China just because it was staying within their regulations is just
Too much.
Yeah.
As China, and I think China kind of basically sat there and overregulated Facebook because they had basically come out with their own version of Facebook. And
China's notorious for making their own versions.
You know what?
of
We'll
things.
do it our way, only cheaper and with more slave labor.
Yeah.
So,
But
just
that's hurting your head.
yes, this is hurting my head.
Okay.
Speaking of hurting my head,
Well,
we'll come back to this. I
yeah.
really do have to get this out there. I'm just going to say this straight out. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it or anything like that. The director of the hit Marvel movie Deadpool
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about
has been tapped to direct Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. Now, before you react to that, let me drop the other bombshell. It is hybrid. It is live action and animated.
okay, so when you say hybrid live action animated, are we talking like they are using mocapping to do on top of the animation, so that way it's fully animated looking? Or are we talking we have Sonic talking to real people again, like in some of their really shitty games?
And he falls in love with a human.
So they're calling it a live action CG hybrid. So I'm thinking it's going to be, they're trying to do Mary Poppins in a horrible way.
Oh
Yeah,
God!
it's going to be Sonic and et al. Interacting with real people, and I'm almost thinking it's going to be Sonic breaks out of the video game and comes into the real world, and
He's gonna have like a shitty outfit
it's
on.
the Smurfs all over again. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Speaking of directors,
Yeah.
the directors of Deadpool 2 and The Flash have dropped those directors. The one for Deadpool was creative differences between John Reynolds and
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. I don't know why I say John. Ryan Reynolds and the director. And the other one was because, well, that makes sense because The Flash, the last two movies it failed. What was it? Civil War and...
Civil War failed? That was Marvel.
No.
You mean Justice League?
Justice,
Or
yeah.
Batman versus Superman?
Yeah, Batman versus Superman.
And they're already calling Justice League a failure.
And
strangely enough.
the one with the Joker.
The one with the Joker. You're talking about
Yeah.
I
I
know
know the
all
one
the
you're talking about.
villains.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
yeah.
So neither one of those two were box office hits, so they removed this director.
Well, that's because
And
DC's
so-
never been a hit.
I know this. The only reason I brought those up because they're comics and it's part of collectibles.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what though?
What?
It still did better than Fantastic Four.
Which one?
Any of them.
Okay, true.
Okay, fine.
Fair point.
Fair point. But
So the other thing I did want to mention before we move on is the animation company that they brought in to do the CG part for the Sonic movie is responsible for the among other things, the cinematics and Halo Master Chief Collection. You know how they updated the cinematics in the games? So that company is doing the animation for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
I'll watch it.
As to I would
I don't want to watch this.
I'm done with Sonic being shoved down my throat. Like I barely withstood it after Spinball. So think about how long that's been.
Spinball wasn't bad. At least he didn't fall in love with the humans.
Spinball was a pinball game.
I mean, I've tried some of the other Sonics and everything, and Sonic, I mean, he's just been awful and more awful and everything like this. They finally decided to take one of their worst games probably and finally make a movie out of it. So you can't do any worse than this.
Okay, so two things. One, Sonic All-Star Racing was awesome. We liked it. Two, it's probably going to be better than the 2006 Sonic movie.
I don't necessarily consider Sonic All-Star Racing an actual true Sonic title. It's a kart-based game, and it has other characters in it. And
it's the same as Spinball. It's a tried and true formula that is difficult to mess up. You just change the art assets and maybe provide a change in mechanics. Not even an original change, just a change in mechanics, and bam, you have a successful game.
yeah,
I mean, it's Mario Party outsells any other game that comes out, even though all the other games have these massively original plots in them and everything like that. Mario Party always oversells.
yeah. Trying to say that Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed is a good Sonic game is like saying Smash Brothers is a good Mario game. I mean, just because it has
True.
Just because it has a character.
Fair
Sonic.
point.
Now, this isn't the first time, and most people who will probably recalling this will agree. This isn't the first time that Sonic has been brought into a sort of a storytelling medium. There was the Sonic television show, which people hold up as some sort of
There was
figurehead, a bastion of purity. I can't even say this with a straight face. Like, it was it was a kid's show, and aside from keeping Jaleel White current as far as a voice actor or something like that, like, the thing has been gone and dead and buried, and they haven't even bothered remaking it. Think about how many times they've remade Transformers or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and nobody has touched Sonic the Hedgehog until now, or tried to come up with anything like that.
Well, on the same aspect, you could say, that Mario has actually done worse because they've tried one TV series back in the 80s, and then they had the one Super Mario Brothers movie.
Hey, I like that movie.
That movie was something special.
Yeah.
And not in
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't a very awesomely good movie, but it was nice to see that. It was nice to see something just absolutely thrown under the 90s ray gun.
Mm-hmm.
And so that had to be hip, and it had to be edgy, and it had to be cool, and it had to have all of this, like, I don't even know what to call it, like neon punk.
Oh God!
It was bad.
Yeah, it was bad, but
I liked it.
I mean, it's one of those ones. It's a cult movie now.
Yeah. But that's the bar. Sonic has to do better than
The
Super Mario Brothers, the
man.
movie.
I don't know.
That's That's the bar.
The scary thing is, if Sonic does even one whip of business, you can bet there's going to be another Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
So,
but
nip this in the bud right away, folks. Don't do anything with this Sonic movie. You should make sure this thing gets strangled in its crib.
Do it.
Just bury it in the dust.
No, watch it.
Throw it out with
Support
the bathwater. Get rid of this thing because it's just going to lead us down a dark, dark road until we get to that CGI, CDI, Legend of Zelda one, the really bad Zelda.
Oh God, really bad Zeldas?
Yeah, the Philips.
Oh, the
CDI,
Philips disc one.
The Philips CDI Zelda thing that everybody kind of goes, oh.
Yeah.
You just shudder thinking that kind of thing.
Well, think about other things that are being buried besides ET in a landfill.
Actually, they dug those up.
Huh?
They dug those up.
I know they dug those
dug
up.
them all up.
So now there's
One is actually in the Smithsonian.
Yay!
Oh God.
So, other things that are getting buried is Microsoft is officially killing off Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 for sale to computer makers. So that
won't come preloaded anymore.
No OEM. That means that there's basically no way to get Windows 7 or Windows 8.1 in the channel. So the only thing that's going to be available as a consumer on either buying a PC or for an OEM build, if you're building it yourself, is going to be Windows 10.
Yep. So they're effectively killing Windows 7 and Windows 8. Now this is on the cusp of news that I read where both Windows 7 and Windows 8 still have a lot of a higher adoption rate than Windows 10 at this point. More people are using or getting the older versions of the operating system than they are going to Windows 10.
Well, considering the full pause that happened with the Windows 10 anniversary update and the amount of slack that they caught there, I can see that.
Yeah, that was a debacle, and you're still feeling repercussions because now on top of what was the bigger start? Oh, they broke thousands upon thousands of webcams.
Still
haven't fixed that.
Yeah.
They broke their own shell.
Yeah.
And something else that was not exactly as relevant. And now certain architectures actually get stuck in infinite update loops.
Yep, I've seen that too.
Yeah, and it's typically it's older systems or less adopted structures like your netbook processors and things like that. But there's been no real way to track it down, and it's such a small amount of people that you can bet Microsoft's not really coming up with an answer for that anytime soon either.
No,
they're not.
I mentioned this a little earlier in the show. They actually rolled out another massively annoying advertising campaign because it used to be when they were rolling out the free upgrade to Windows 10, you couldn't boot your system or be on it for half an hour without them saying, get your free upgrade to Windows 10. And they got slowly more and more aggressive with that.
Or saying, hey, you need to get Office 365.
And well, that's the next bit. So you upgrade to Windows 10. I was the one who was like basically took the free upgrade first on. And then as soon as I upgraded to Windows 10, I'm like, good, now will you please shut up so I can use my computer and look at porn? And then they said, you should get Office 365. And then every time I booted my computer and every half after using it, you need to get Office 365. Go get Office 365. You should have Office. You don't have the current version of Office. You should go get Office. And so finally I actually dug down in there and I said, okay, opt out. Stop bothering me with this.
Yeah.
If I haven't bought Office by now, I'm not going to buy Office. And now the latest thing that they've rolled out is apparently as you are using another browser.
Oh.
Yeah. Mozilla or Chrome or something like that. At certain points during your browsing, if you haven't been using it, Microsoft Edge will be sitting on your taskbar and it will pop up a notice over the Edge icon saying you should really use Edge and sign up for these things and take surveys and earn points and use Edge.
No.
And then on top of that, I've heard reports that people opting out of this, it opts you back in.
Yeah, that's been a big thing is they've been talking about.
Like you shut it off, it turns it right back on.
Yeah, there's been Ninja re-enlisting you into the Edge. They're like, no, you're a Windows user. You're one of us. You got to use the Edge. It's so much better than Internet Explorer. Come back.
Yeah, Edge is useful like Bing is useful. It does what you want, but not quite.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll search for the first letter, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's a mess, but
you want to know that the most common thing that I've binged? Install Chrome.
What about Firefox?
No. I've been a Chrome user for a very long time, and so all of my stuff is Chrome. So essentially, it's like, no, Windows, I don't want to drink your Kool-Aid. I'm drinking this Powerade. So
I'm gonna drink this Kool-Aid.
Like I've
over here.
already taken Google's drink. I can't drink Microsoft's drink and Google's drink at the same time.
Okay. I think I need to take away your stick. You're shaking it really hard.
I'm shaking. I've been put on a tirade because my you have to understand, Halloween and the beginning of fall is like my favorite time of year. Favorite. You got, the horror movies and the candy and fall and all of that kind of stuff and all the great, wonderful bits. And it's just the end of summer and people reminiscing and just coming off of that buzz, that high of the the high point of the year. And then it goes immediately into my most hated time of year, where everything is cold, everything is dead, and the only thing anybody wants to talk to you about is what the fuck you're going to be buying.
Well, what else is going to be dead is going to be the Wii U.
Used Wii U,
Yeah, Wii U's dying.
Yeah. So they
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
I guess.
What was it? They've rolled off the final ones off production, I think, on yesterday, because it was supposed to be like November 4th was going to be the last Wii U's that are going to go off the shelf. So that means that if you happen to want a Wii U, it's going to be maybe hard pressed to find them during this holiday season, or there may be just enough for this holiday season.
Or you shouldn't really be in a rush. If you haven't gotten a Wii U by now, you're not missing out on much. I'd say give it 6 months and then start doing your usual Goodwill rounds. And Goodwill and pawn shops, and you'll probably find one for a really good price.
Especially with the Nintendo Switch's release date having been moved up from March to like January 12th.
Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Remember we talked about that.
We talked about that.
Yeah. So
We talked about me purchasing it because I'm probably going to do it.
I mean, I'd be interested to check it out. I'm just not, capable of really dropping that kind of money on a console right now.
So speaking of purchases, James, are you going to be purchasing the NES Classic Edition?
You know it.
Okay. So that's supposed to be rolling out here, I think, this coming week.
Nice. How much is like $60, right?
I think it's like $60.
I'm gonna buy 2 of them.
Okay. And I believe now what was interesting about these was you're basically buying a Raspberry Pi
Oh yeah.
in a little Nintendo shell with all the games preloaded running on Linux. So some people on the internet have already started to take them apart, and I guess like the huge joke there is that the Nintendo Entertainment System needs a quad-core processor to run.
I don't even think the original Nintendo had anything like that.
No.
The original Nintendo didn't have a core.
Yeah.
It didn't even have a quarter of a core, and it still ran all those games pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, I could understand them needing that to kind of keep it up to basically... I could see the emulators currently doing this kind of thing where they have to speed up the games and then slow them back down to put up with the modern architectures and the modern resolutions that they display at. Because the one thing that I experienced that made me kind of push me away from NES emulation was buying a game off of the Virtual Console on the Wii. I bought Kirby's Adventure in Dreamland.
Oh.
Nice.
And that game was so horribly ported that I was like, I could have just emulated this. And so I did. I homebrewed my Wii, and I got a ROM, and it played 100 times better than the actual Virtual Console version. So
I could see that happening.
yeah, so this thing, I mean, if it's them taking, basically accepting what people are doing anyway. Because there's also, with the Raspberry Pi, there's a thing called the RetroPie, which is a way that you can build your Raspberry Pi or a case or controls, so you can do whatever you want. But RetroPie is basically an operating system that lets you emulate all the old classics, including NES.
Yeah, but even at this point, it's still overkill because the Nintendo Entertainment System has been able to be emulated since the mid to late 90s. I mean, I remember running a Nintendo emulator on a single core Pentium 200 megahertz processor, like the original Pentiums, and that was more than enough, to run a Nintendo emulator back in the day. So we're not necessarily missing out on anything here.
Mm-hmm.
And did you hear about the people who tested it before it got released? They were complaining that the controller was too not responsive and bulky, and I'm like, guys, that's kind of what we had.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want unresponsive, like you mentioned, go play an Atari.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have problems beating the games back in the day because
That's what we had.
That was the stuff. We had to think at that speed.
Yeah.
You basically learn that kind of stuff. And anybody who's ever changed from one console to the other or one control scheme to the other has to do that. I mean, everybody's done that thing where like you've been playing World of Warcraft too
Yeah.
much, and then all of a sudden you find yourself like in another game trying to use World of Warcraft commands or
Right?
something like that.
And you're like, oh yeah, that
This
doesn't
is the
work
same
here.
thing. You're gonna have to unlearn all the muscle memory that you've developed up to this point and go back to that old muscle memory before, or develop that which you've never had to, which is the classic way of things.
Man, if they're complaining about that controller, imagine them trying a Dreamcast controller.
Or even the old big controllers for the Xbox, the original Xbox back in the day. I mean, that thing was a monster controller.
Oh, the Duke?
The Duke.
Yeah, the Duke.
And actually, the Nintendo controller was kind of a concept off the Sega Master controller because they were basically the same square shape.
Yeah.
Almost.
They pretty much were.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, essentially, yeah, they were kind of just, that was the evolution of the controller. And then at some point, Nintendo took like LSD or whatever, and that's how we ended up with the controllers for the N64.
Oh, yeah, the N64.
and the GameCube.
Hey, I
where-
got good at that when I was playing Wave Race with one hand because the button was on the bottom.
So the story is that they developed that controller specifically because they wanted to put more focus onto first-person games and shooters specifically.
Yeah,
and so they wanted that analog stick to kind of like be able to drive and easy stuff like that. But the GameCube controller was a step in the right direction. And then the Wii happened, and
yeah.
No matter what, people weren't happy.
Well, that's why the Wii came with
the nunchuck.
No. That's why it came with basically still the GameCube ports on it, so that way you can still use your GameCube controllers because
they were like, they're probably not going to like this either.
yeah.
And even that classic controller too was just,
It was terrible.
yeah. So trust me, I mean, for all of the hardships and all the things that I gripe about and everything going into this, it's still a step in the right direction compared to what we've been through already.
Right.
Because my greatest claim to fame as far as controllers were concerned were magically managing to find the way to spill Dr. Pepper onto my light gun on my NES originally in the proper way to make it so that it hits every time, regardless of where you're aiming.
Really?
Yeah. Like you could point that thing up in the air, away from the TV at all, and just and kill every duck and hit every clay pigeon.
Best accidental hack ever,
Yeah.
right?
That was the best life hack. It's like if you ever want to try that again, it's just spill soda on your light gun and see if that fixes it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, do we got anything else right now that we want to talk about?
Esclaflone's already out right now. And if you buy the collector's edition, you get a little necklace with it, an art book, and you get the movie and the series.
Why?
All for $150.
Why would I want to spend $150?
Because anime is what I do. And Esclaflone was a good anime.
How was it a good anime?
You didn't like it? I liked it. Granted, it kind of like you mentioned, it's kind of more of a chick flick movie. I
Yes,
guess.
it's a chick flick.
But at that time, that's what a lot of those series were. And that one had the better storyline of most of this anime that was released during that time frame.
Right?
Yeah,
Escaflowne.
Yeah, it's like, was it called Visions of Escaflowne?
Visions of Escaflowne. I keep forgetting that part.
Yeah.
But yeah. At that time, there was good animes out there, but not a lot. I mean, you had Visions of Escaflowne. You had Evangelion.
Yeah.
So if you didn't like giant robots,
2001.
Yeah, 2001.
Yeah, 2001. So there were
good ones.
There were some other good ones. Okay, look, I will say in its own right, it's a good story, but I'm not exactly one to go watch a chick flick more than once.
But have you watched any of it?
I've watched the whole series,
and you didn't like it.
So here are some animes by popularity that aired originally in 2001.
All right.
They're saying that Escaflowne was the kind of a sign of what there was back then.
I'm not saying it was like the best.
I'm not saying you didn't say that. Okay. I'm saying you said this was a good example of what was going on back then. So
these are one of the better ones.
These are the ones that came out around that time. Spirited Away.
That was a good one.
Cowboy Bebop the movie. So the series had already been long gone by that point.
Yep.
Let's see, what else do we have? Detective Conan. The fifth movie for that came out. Rurouni Kenshin, Seishun. I think I'm saying that right. Let's see. FLCL started.
Yeah,
in 2001. Fully Cooley. Read or Die. Helsing.
You had Initial D third stage in there.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan. I mean, I like Initial D, don't get me wrong.
They actually did a movie about the cat bus from Totoro.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Wait, no, Initial D I did like. Never mind.
Inuyasha.
Okay, I would rather sit through Visions of Escaflowne again than Inuyasha. Okay.
What?
Yeah.
All right, well,
Inuyasha
look
was
at the-
good. Shut up.
Let's see. Lupin the Third Special 13.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
So only most of those were movies, and some of them were series.
Metropolis,
Yeah, Metropolis
which defies comparison, really, in my mind. Like Tezuka's art style and just the story of Metropolis and everything like that. It just did really great credit to the original source. So I really like that one. And I don't think that there's any way, from what I've heard about Escaflowne, that is in no way drawing a comparison. And then my personal favorite, on top of all of that, Cat Soup, was 2001.
Oh, really?
Yes. And Cat Soup is a movie I used to torture people. So
You still torture people with it. What do you mean you used to?
only when they ask now.
Oh, only when they ask
Only
for
Only
it.
when they ask for
Only when
punishment.
they ask for it.
So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of stuff here. The thing is, a lot of anime. It's really hard to say that any particular type of anime has been.
They were different styles.
Yeah, they're all different styles and things like that. Now, Escaflowne I've had recommended to me over and over and over again, and I'd be willing to check it out. But unfortunately, somebody decided to get me involved into One Piece, and that's basically dominated the entirety of my anime wishings and dealings.
Hey, One
So-
Piece was out at that time too.
One Piece was out at every time. I'm convinced that One Piece has been going on since the invention of television.
Yeah, it's
Right? They had it like slowly writing the script in the back. We're going to hold on. We're not going to release this right now because we don't have the technology.
that. I mean, that series now holds like the record for like one of the longest running series ever, and it's
And I have a lot
it's
to
unique in
catch
its
up
own
on.
thing. Yeah, but other things that we should probably catch up on.
Well,
is
we got into the big thing that we were going to be talking about.
yeah, we're going to talk about
Okay.
Diablo. BlizzCon. BlizzCon's going on right now.
As of recording this, we are in the second day of BlizzCon.
Yes.
Yes. And since we are
We're
journalists, kind of. Gamers, sure. Game journalists,
okay.
kind of.
Wait.
Yeah.
I want to make this clear. We are not journalists. We are
Entertainers
and commentators.
Okay, we are game opinionists.
Yes. We.
Um,
When you say journalists, that means that's a different level than entertainers and commentators, because that means that we have to be held to a higher standard.
no, we're entertainers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to hold ourselves to anything.
Yeah. We have no standards, so we are not journalists, okay?
So BlizzCon, avoiding the usual stuff like, okay, they announced Overwatch they finally released Sombra, which everybody's been going absolutely nuts about.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hearthstone, they're going to be doing a Gadgetzan themed
Streets of Gadgetzan.
Streets of Gadgetzan themed
Cool.
deck, I'm assuming, or something.
Whole
I don't know.
expansion, so that means that's there are
Cards and deck and enemies and things like that.
Yay.
Yay! I don't really care. So the big thing that I've been really excited for, and after hearing about this, and I'm pretty sure he's going to agree with me, is, and you maybe too, that first they are adding the Necromancer in as a playable class. It's going to be an expansion content, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, DLC.
We have no price for that just yet, but
Probably $39.99.
there is gameplay footage. It looks a lot like a very Diablo 3 take on the Diablo 2 Necromancer.
Nice.
So it looks very satisfying to me. I can't wait to check it out. The second thing is, apparently as a seasonal thing, almost like one of the seasonal things that they usually do, they're going to be letting people have the ability to play the original game as content in the Diablo 3 engine.
yeah.
Nice.
Now, whether that means that the original classes are coming back or the original enemies are coming back, I'm not really sure. I haven't found anything about that. But.
Everything I've read is obviously you're going to be using the classes that you have in Diablo 3, and you'll have a darkening of Tristram where they basically kind of like lower the graphics quality. They intentionally make the sound tinnier and crappier. And you're actually stuck in the actual 8-wave movement of the original. And they're saying they're reducing the frame rates by 25%, so it has the choppiness.
I'm actually kind of glad they're going seasonal with this then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to have that full nostalgia feel. You can use any of your regular characters. You go through 16 random levels in the original church. And yes, it is the original villains.
So I can play it for like 15 minutes, get bored, and turn it off?
Well, we have the Butcher and Leoric, and that's all as far as I ever got.
Diablo, and you have the priest guy, the one that corrupted
Leoric.
Leoric.
Leoric's son.
Yeah.
So yeah, the story, if I remember correctly, is the priest corrupts Leoric's son. Leoric goes mad and kills himself trying to save his son. Son is actually the one who's possessed by Diablo.
Yeah.
And Tristram ends up getting the shit end of the stick.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that's something to look forward to, definitely.
I wouldn't mind getting the Necromancer back.
yeah,
That way I can fill the screen with skeletons like I
know.
did in Diablo 2. Skeletons.
I'm very excited for that. The Necromancer was easily my most favorite class, especially the Summon Mancer build, was just being able to like have this army of skeletons just clearing out absolutely everything.
much, yeah.
And just sitting back and sipping coffee and picking up loot as it drops.
Right?
yeah. Well, we don't know if it's going to be on time for the event, but the anniversary event is supposed to be starting in January.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't say when the cutoff was on it, but they are saying it's going to be an annual event thing every year for the anniversary of Diablo. They're going to have this out in January, so that way you can go through the original Diablo, and they're going to have unique loot because it's an event. And I think it's a good take on this because it gives you your nostalgia member berries without ruining the experience, because you got another year to forget yourself getting burnt out on it and come back and go, oh, Diablo 1 again. So that's a nice thing. Blizzard has always done right is by having events, annual events, because it keeps the games fresher and everything. And that's one of the things that keeps people inside Blizzard games.
I still have my complaints about the WoW one, though, because they always do that Halloween event every year, but you can only do it like once per day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on.
It's been forever since you played WoW.
I should have more time. No, it's still once per day.
You know, it's been forever since you played WoW.
Still.
And I know I'm not saying it could have changed. I'm saying it's been forever since you played WoW. You really shouldn't care.
Oh, I don't.
It's been forever since I played WoW. And really, I mean, if those people are playing WoW and they're going in there once per day and doing their thing and trying to get that head or that horse or whatever.
Horse.
Yeah.
It's really the mount.
Like, really, just let them go and do the thing. Like, we're going to need those people when the apocalypse comes, because they're going to be the ones who's going to count everything.
Yeah.
You know. Now, just to finish up the final announcements from BlizzCon and everything like that, and we can continue gushing about Diablo. They have announced updated information for StarCraft 2, especially plot information.
Yep.
So it's not just more multiplayer stuff. There's actually something to do with the Nova Covert Ops final mission, and hopefully there's going to be some more information about expansion content or something like that. Because right now they're hurting for like keeping StarCraft 2 relevant, because it was you had all the races playable as multiplayer races, but you only had the Terran story initially.
Yeah, but and they put out all 3 stories now.
Yeah.
And they basically finished off that entire arc. So it's one of those things where it should only be in the multiplayer at this point.
I don't know. I mean,
what? You have skepticism here.
I'm always skeptical about any game trying to support itself entirely on the multiplayer, especially when it's something that you end up having to fight against other players. Because let's face it, multiplayer would be great if it weren't for the other players.
This is true, but Blizzard has made their job to support themselves off the multiplayer, and they've done a relatively good job of it so far. They're one of the few companies that has managed to support itself off the multiplayer. So that is relatively impressive. Now, one of the other big announcements that's come out has been Blizzard is building a professional sports league for Overwatch.
I'd see that, definitely, with the way that CSGO has been going and League of Legends and all of that kind of stuff. Speaking of which, Heroes of the Storm, have we heard anything about that?
Yes, they're adding more characters to that too.
I think it was about time we started hearing some more about that.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to basically occupy the space and being like, we're the guys who started this multiplayer thing. I mean, we took this MMO thing and popularized it.
Yeah.
And now we have this entire platform where we have RTS, MOBA, shooter, card game, MMO. Like they're trying to establish themselves as the dynasty crossing all of the multiplayer venue.
And they've done a good job so far.
So far, they've positioned themselves rather well. They are not on the top of most of these niches. Not by a long. I mean, Magic still kind of dominates. I mean, Hearthstone is really being a good competitor there.
Hearthstone is wrecking when it comes to online card gaming. I mean, they are absolutely on top there. Because the funny thing is like, they got it right when it comes to playing a card game online. Magic has basically been shitting all over itself when it comes to playing Magic online. They just do a really bad job. So,
and then you've got You got Overwatch, which is becoming the new darling of online shooter, especially chaotic, hectic play. Because TF2 used to hold that throne, and you could argue kind of that Counter-Strike did, but Counter-Strike people would probably argue that Counter-Strike is in its whole different league of its own. And
yeah, he would.
It is.
So, Overwatch. I mean, face it, I've been online enough in certain circles to see that nobody shuts up about Overwatch. They are saying some really like amazing things. They're very excited for it. They're doing a lot of creepy stuff with the characters. Stop it. And essentially Overwatch is rising fast.
Yes.
And further than anybody ever expected it to, except for maybe the people at Blizzard who know what they're doing. StarCraft, like, the thing about it is RTS multiplayer has kind of taken a backseat since MOBA became the way of the things, because that's basically what everybody wants in the RTS. They never wanted the whole resource management, troop building, or anything like that. They wanted the hero structure from Warcraft 3.
Yeah, because that was huge for quite some time. That's what
started.
Was it
MOBAs in the first place.
Dota?
Yeah, Dota started off as a Warcraft 3
kind of, yeah,
mod.
Yeah.
And they wanted the heroes. They wanted to be able to take these heroes and level up the heroes and have them work in these battlegrounds. And that's how we ended up. So now I don't think Dota's really.
They have Dota 2.
Yeah, Dota 2. I don't think that's really the forefront. I think League of Legends is still the forefront there.
League of Legends is the
And
forefront,
Smite.
but Dota is big, and Smite's pretty big too, because Dota 2 is backed by Valve, and they have a big tournament every year. Mm-hmm. So it is there, it is played. You just don't necessarily hear about it as much. Smite is played quite a bit. Mm-hmm. You just don't hear about it as much as League of Legends.
Yeah.
Heroes of the Storm is played, but
League of Legends still gets more coverage.
Yeah,
I would say. It gets put out there a lot further. Now, to round it all out, we move back to the one that I like and the multiplayer structure that I like, which is Diablo 3. Mm-hmm. Because it has that old Battle.net feel to it, where you can sort of establish groups and guilds and clans and have people that you can go in and play with that you trust, that will know what they're doing, that you can kind of pick and mix and say, oh, if we're going to play that class, I'm going to play this class, and we can kind of complement each other and that kind of thing. And it's not just throwing you in randomly with whoever decides to ruin your day. So it's, I've always enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed every single thing that they've added into it as far as unlocking more of the torment structure, putting in the rifts, adjusting those for playability and balance. So adding on to that content, definitely. And what I would like to see, what I would like to hear is more storyline expansion content. Because because a lot of people, and we were talking about this earlier, a lot of people want to see that that's not the end for Leah and the line of Deckard Cain, and what happened when the Soulstone got destroyed at the end of the last expansion content.
Yeah, the Reaper.
There's more stories there, and I don't want to wait another 10 years for them to come out with Diablo 4 and start answering those questions.
Right.
I think their smart move right now will probably be to move into something. Enough people are clamoring for it, but may not be until the next BlizzCon until we see something.
Yeah, it's true. And this is a good addition to tide us over until that point.
Yeah.
Necromancer and the original Diablo playable, which is, and somebody's like, why would they want to do that? I was mentioning this online to a friend, and like, why would they want to do that? I'm like, well, Diablo 2 is still a playable game. A lot of people still play it. Battle.net is still active for Diablo 2. Mm-hmm. They may have stopped the update cycle completely, but that's because the game is difficult to update any further than it already is. And you can still go and play that. A lot of people got locked out of Diablo.
Yeah.
Because of the licensing structure.
Well, not just the licensing structure, it was the age of the game.
Yeah, if you ever go look up footage, look up original footage of the original Diablo. You'll be surprised. You don't remember it looking that bad.
Yeah, and it was a lot of the netcode too, even with the original one that's locking people out of playing that.
I wasn't really thinking netcode because back at that point I didn't even know what netcode was.
Netcodes drive so much more.
Was there a multiplayer thing?
There was, but a lot of it was local multiplayer, LAN,
Okay.
More so than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you wanted to, would you want to party up and go through some original Diablo goodness?
Yeah.
And kind of go, oh God, the frame rate.
Right. Oh dear God.
How come we can only move? This is horrible.
Yeah.
I'll make a dial-up noise.
Is Diablo 3 base engine, is that hex based or is that?
It's not even hex based.
No,
it's
a full render.
Full render freeform.
Wow.
So it's actually like it has some 3D-ness to it. It's not like the flat.
I always thought with like
plain.
I always thought with like spell and ability positioning, it seemed almost hex based.
No. No. There's definitely isn't. thinking of.
And apparently, I missed out on an expansion for StarCraft 2. Into the Void.
Into the Void, which is the final one.
I did miss that one too.
Yeah, I missed that one completely. Because I thought it just was the Brood War, the thing.
No.
The Kerrigan thing, and then that's all it was. So, yeah, I'm going to have to... Hopefully, they come out with a battle chest of that or a really cheap holiday sale on that so I can pick that up and actually get through the whole story.
They will. They'll bring that out here. Blizzard almost always does around the holiday season. So November, December, expect to see something like that.
And then the only other thing I want to mention, this is just something I mention anytime Blizzard comes up. If you are feeling nostalgic, if you want to be reminiscent or anything like that, I have it on good authority that the original Warcraft and Warcraft 2 are considered abandonware by Blizzard. And so if you do look in the proper places at the proper times, you can find those games and play those games with a little effort and experience the old classic feel. Warcraft 3 is still licensed, so if you can find that, you're probably breaking the law.
Yeah,
so,
Warcraft 3 you can still purchase from Blizzard's store. Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, I think you kind of can now.
You can get them, but they're considered abandonware. I've actually found them on certain sites where you can just download them and play them.
And the problem is CPU speed, really, with those games nowadays.
Learn your DOS box, folks.
Yeah. Speaking of DOS and Windows, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is out. And, of course, it's Call of Duty, so that means that there's a hot mess involved.
Of course.
Yeah.
As there always is.
As usual.
Yeah.
The last one was what? That the flashlights were way too bright or something like that? Or something
silly.
What's going on here?
They have a couple of hot messes. One is apparently on the PC, if you buy Infinite Warfare in the Windows 10 store, you cannot play with the people on Steam. So
the Windows Store version and the Steam version
are not compatible with each other.
But they're the same game, right?
Exactly, same game.
There's not even a port. They're just both written on the same architecture, and there's some sort of arbitrary lockout here.
Yeah. It's
keeping my mouth shut. I've waved my stick enough today.
I know. You have.
Please upgrade Office 365.
Yeah.
I will launch this table. Not over this table. I will launch this table.
Maybe, if you just launched it all in Edge, it might just work. No, but the other thing is, I guess because of like the crate drops and everything, there's basically microtransactions now in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And so there's a lot of people that are, especially gamers, are starting to gripe that Call of Duty Infinite Warfare has gone to pay to win. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be competitive, you want to get the good guns and you want to get the air stuff like that.
I think time will tell, essentially, because I've already seen a concrete example of pay to win, and usually these kind of rumblings come out whenever a game drops.
Yes.
Like it's always people, it's pay to win because of some transaction architecture or something like that. Guaranteed pay to win, I kid you not, is APB Reloaded. This is a game where you can drop $30 on the privilege of using a gun for a week. And then it's gone. You have to drop another $30 on it. And during that point in time, when you have that gun, you are golden, unless somebody bought a gun more powerful than yours. So that's pay to win. Now, a Call of Duty thing, an Infinite Warfare kind of thing.
If I get to keep the gun longer than a week, then I guess that's good.
I mean, I can understand people paying to like not have to farm something up or anything, because there is a lot of unlockable content in these games. And so, somebody getting something that they want to have is understandable. And I don't think that really any of these guns are going to be more or less overpowered than the counterparts for anybody that gets them.
Right.
It's really a question of skill and how you use it and how much you're willing to tolerate as far as game engine bullshittery and whatever.
But that's, you have to care enough about Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, because
that was my nice way of saying I don't care. You guys can suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Battlefield 1 to compete against, and Titanfall 2.
Battlefield 1 came out.
And everybody's going absolutely nuts about the Battlefield thing. There's more footage about Battlefield than anything else from that particular niche.
Yeah, and then there's Titanfall 2. It's out, but you're not really hearing about it. I think this is going to be one of those things where it's going to get played real quick and go plop off again.
Like the original Titanfall.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, because the original Titanfall is actually a really neat structure. It just has a lot of really annoying aspects to it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of those actually end up getting communicated over to Titanfall 2. I can go and view it for sure. I'm pretty sure there's still some people on Twitch playing it.
Well, it's
at this point.
Yeah, they are right now because it is just dropped. But it's almost fitting, because this game is fun and amazing when you get your Titan drop, and as soon as it's over, it's back to whatever.
Yeah,
So,
but the Titans are made out of duct tape and paper mache.
right.
And then as soon as it's gone, you have your support character going, your Titan's going to be ready in 2 minutes. It's like, you guys, no wonder there's a fight for resources. You're building these Titans too fast.
Yeah.
Like, it should be, and they keep on, like, when they set you up on the tutorial in the original Titanfall, they say you have to earn your Titan. Like, in order to earn a Titan, you have to play through it. I think they've messed up the structure on this and made it so people earn their Titans way too fast.
Yeah.
And that the Titans are way underpowered because of that. The Titans need to be more powerful, and it needs to be something that a team has to band together to take out, and they have to be very difficult to unlock.
It's kind of like Battlefield 2142, where they had mechs on the field that were hard to take out. And yes, it took some effort.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm pretty sure it took a lot of effort just to get one.
yeah.
And that's the thing, is if it's a core mechanic of gameplay, it needs to feel formidable. It needs to be more than just, all of a sudden you become a bigger player fighting against another bigger player while everybody else kind of runs around like ants and doesn't really have any effect. Yeah. So great idea, bad execution.
Right.
The bad part of almost any video game out there.
Well,
Well,
I got a couple things locally now. So we have the Thermal Take is putting out the Sandia cooler. They're releasing it underneath the Engine 27.
yeah, I saw that.
And this is interesting because this was developed basically, about 5 years ago by Sandia National Laboratories. And it is a innovative type of cooler because the fan is basically turbine style, is metal sitting on top of metal, and it's basically, once it starts going on top of a magnetic bearing, it's also, the way it's designed, keeps any dust really from sticking to it.
I mean, it looks cool. I like that it's low profile. I can't wait to see some sort of performance specs on it and things like that.
Yeah.
I will say, on the outset, just looking at the thing, it looks like the kind of thing that would be in some crappy YouTuber's CG opening.
True.
Yeah, I mean, it's all these hard edges and stuff like that. Like, I understand that these things are kind of just interior items, and these things are more designed to be functional than aesthetic.
Right.
In a lot of ways. But that could benefit from at least a different tone of metal, or something to offset just that straight, solid chunk of aluminum.
Well, that's if you're trying to show it off. I mean, the thing is,
That's the thing these days.
This thing is so small. This is really designed more for small boxes, mini ITX, home theater PC, where it's actually ultra quiet.
It is.
It is ultra quiet. That's one of the huge things about this too.
Well, I stand corrected.
And servers. I mean, I think they were talking about like 13 decibels. I mean, it's like insanely low.
And it still does good?
Yeah, because it's metal all the way through, so it's very, very good contact.
And how much does this thing cost?
No idea yet, because they finally announced that it is being put out by Thermal Take as the Engine 27, but it's not been released to market, and it's not actually been given a price. I don't expect to see it for this holiday season, but we are going to be seeing it in the future.
I'll buy one.
I'll probably buy one too.
I could use something other than the stock one I'm using.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how well these are going to do for stock purposes. I think it'll actually be better than stock. But like I said, this is more of a low profile, very low profile. I mean, cooler. We're talking, it's half an inch high. And that's what's the insanity of it is. And the fact that it is really quiet and really small is it has a lot of good applications that way.
So just for reference here, the only other one that I can see that's a Thermal Take low profile CPU cooler is called the Miorb.
Yeah.
I guess. And by dimensions here, it looks like it's 1.9 inches tall.
Yeah, 2 inches. So it's half an inch versus 2 inches.
So that they've gotten even smaller than that. Like, this used to be the thing.
And the diameter is even smaller too. Then that's some of the amazing things about this.
So that's something to consider for your like really hardcore hardware friend for holiday shopping and things like that. Now, speaking of holiday shopping,
yes,
we do want to announce this near the end of the show. Next week, because last week we did collectibles as far as holiday buying and that kind of thing. Next week we're going to discuss hardware, specifically computer hardware and maybe some console stuff and things like that. But basically hardware that you can consider for the technically inclined person in your family who, if you're trying to find something to buy. We are going to come up with some suggestions, things that we find exciting. and this would probably be on our lists, at least my list.
Yeah.
Okay.
This cooler.
Yeah.
And besides just talking about like, specific hardware or monitors or maybe a pre-built system or a game console or something like that, we're actually going to put together a list of what we would use to build a machine.
And a list of internal components, not just like, oh, go buy this Dell or this HP or this pre-built or something like that. Like, here's a full-on
Desktop
build.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're definitely, we're going to put together a list within certain price ranges and have that ready next week. So that way you can get, 3 different people's opinions on what they think is good hardware.
Good
and
idea.
that way we get the whole gamut. That way it's not just ATI fanboys and NVIDIA fanboys and Intel fanboys and
AMD
fanboys.
Personally, I'd trust this guy's opinion over anything. He's helped me build my last 2 computers.
Well,
I didn't help you build anything.
Yeah, you didn't help me build anything.
we'll see.
Maybe next time. Yeah.
We all have our own personal preferences, and that's why it's good, to see 3 people, even somebody that's not necessarily technically inclined, they still have a personal preference. And we all have varying different skills of what we want to see in a computer. Who knows? You may say pretty lights and flashy lights or no lights,
I'm a big no lights kind of person because I keep my computer on most of the night.
You don't want to your whole
I don't
room?
want to hold a rave every time I have my computer on.
That's half the fun.
That's
Right?
not half the fun. That's
So you got
that's
one light
absolutely
going
annoying.
green.
No, I have this
red.
right now. The case that I'm using, I have this LED light on the front of it that basically might as well be a daylight, like one of those LED flashlight things. It's like there's a LED flashlight out there. It's like must have one. Apparently, it's just basically a lightsaber. Like, it's so powerful you can burn stuff. This is an LED that puts out light so powerful it burns things. It sets bags on fire and like melts brush and
Okay,
things like
save it for the holiday list.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Okay.
Save it.
Anyway, yeah.
So before we wrap up, we as Jenny Fedora have had a big event basically happen within this last week. We are now a featured channel on VidMe. VidMe is a different video service than YouTube. So we publish there and also on YouTube.
Yeah, it's vid.me.
Correct.
Vid.me.
Vid.me. And it's one of those places that a lot of smaller creators have started to go to, especially when YouTube started getting some backlash for censorship and for the whole YouTube Heroes thing. So
Yeah. So community report your neighbors, kind of like 1984 reporting kind of thing. And then also the demonetization of videos because the advertisers got scared,
Right.
kind of thing. So VidMe is kind of up and coming. We have since started posting our videos there. We initially gave them a few videos and saw a lot more response there than we ever got on YouTube. Though you people who've been following us on YouTube, thank you for your support. But the people on VidMe have it's been way more response and way more adoption, and we've been accepted into the community very deeply because it's a smaller community. So
not just with the people watching, but also with the other creators. So it's been a neat place to hang out in, and so it was amazing to see that we got put up there as a actual featured channel. So we're one of 16 channels that's featured on the front page of that. The VidMe creators have said these guys are worth checking out. So
thank you very much, the folks at VidMe,
yes,
for sure.
all the humans.
All the humans.
Yes.
And then also we did post. They did put together a video and post up something that was basically us saying thank yous to the other creators and the people on VidMe who supported us and that kind of thing. That video has since been our most popular. That is our most popular by far on our VidMe channel. So I had to kind of like skip out of recording that day, which is probably why they had 54 minutes of footage to cut down to like 13.
Yeah.
But I did want to add in and say thank you as well. I do agree with that the support that I've seen has been overwhelming. And I'm very proud and very happy for it. I didn't think that we would ever get that kind of response. I was kind of hoping we'd win the lottery and get that on YouTube, but that's because that's the established mode. That's where the niche is. And since YouTube it's become this big place and this kind of forbidding place, I'm fine if people go to YouTube and subscribe and like, comment, and all that kind of thing like that. But please consider checking out VidMe and checking out our channel on VidMe. because we are probably going to have some exclusive content there. We're going to have all of the content we put on YouTube is going to be going up on VidMe, typically around the same time.
Yes.
And essentially, we want to see how far this goes. Well, of course, we're going to continue to put stuff up on YouTube because that's where we kind of started.
Correct.
So we're not leaving.
No, we're not leaving because YouTube still has some good things that we can use with it. I mean, they have ad monetization there, and also that we have the ability to live stream there. They have a few other back-end features such as the ability to schedule. You can make playlists and all. And VidMe's a younger service, and that stuff is not there yet, but it feels nice because it's a simpler time, and it is improving along the way. So if you just like to watch videos, that's a great place to go, and you can go watch us there. And VidMe has also introduced a tip feature for creators.
I saw that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if there's any creators you like over on VidMe, since there's no ads or anything like that, and if you actually like what they're doing, there are a lot of creators that are just on VidMe and doing it out of passion. So go ahead and drop a tip if there's a creator you like or something over there. They would much appreciate it too. It's a lot different than going on YouTube and just watching it and seeing an ad or something like that.
I certainly want to reiterate that. Definitely the tip structure is something I appreciate more. Mm-hmm. Because just the usual advertising or letting a big entity like YouTube handle the advertising has led to nothing but problems. Right. Yeah, people get paid. Yeah, you can go and get that, and if you get lucky, you'll get paid a decent amount for that kind of thing. It's a good structure. It's a model that worked, or probably still works.
Yeah.
But the tip structure is something I agree with more. If you see us doing something you like, I mean, yes, we want to hear from you. We want to hear a comment. We want to hear a subscription. We want to see a subscription or a like. We want to hear from you in messages or something like that. Tell us that you like it. But another way to do that, another way to ensure that we continue to do that and that we understand how much you like it is to toss us a buck. And really it's a dollar. Like we're not asking for you to fund a complete episode or even fund our living habits for a month or something like that.
Or subscribe to a monthly subscription on Patreon.
Yeah.
Not
yet. Yeah.
So, but yeah, and like I said, this is VidMe's up and coming, and hey, thanks VidMe.
Yeah.
So
thank you very much, guys.
All right, that's going to be our show for the week.
Yeah.
This has been the GACCast, where we discuss games, anime, computers, and collectibles. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and we will see you next time.
Yep.
Laters.
Take care.
That's how it works.
And
You're a player
nowadays-
too. Let me
Yeah.
plug the controller.
Yeah. No Man's Sky is basically just kind of that game that you just it's a time sink. You waste a lot of time in it, and it's still very